Hi everyone,
Hello.
my name is Paweł Mazur, nice to meet you.
And I'm Magdalena Zacharczuk, also nice to meet you.
So today we're going to talk about how to get started with Asset Tracker for Jira. The main goal is to help you on your first days of Asset Tracker, how to properly use it, give you some tips and tricks, and how to start ball rolling.
Yep.
So there will be no good webinar without a presentation. So let me share my screen with you and start presenting as we speak. Sure. So,
okay, we're all set.
So yeah, as the mention said, how to get started with tracking, managing, and reporting at the same time.
First of all, a few words of introduction. You probably are aware of us that we are Spartez, a marketplace vendor. We are an Atlassian Gold partner and marketplace Gold top vendor. We are serving approximately 3,000 customers globally right now, and we are known in the marketplace for our legendary support. You're free to look up any of our reviews. They all mention that our support is quick, fast to respond, and very helpful. So there you go.
So first of all, we're going to start with agenda. In the first part, we're going to talk what's unique about Asset Tracker, what makes it distinct from other plugins. Then we're going to share with you a roundup of features that Asset Tracker have and how it can be used. Afterwards, we're going to tell you a little bit more about what's coming up next, some sneak peeks also about our designs and maybe even roadmap. And as a fourth part, we're going to make some key takeaways, like what we think that's the best ways of using Asset Tracker and what we suggest for you to using out to know the fullest capability, the fullest potential of Asset Tracker. But what's unique? There are three things that make us distinct from other plugins that are revolving about asset management. Is that it have native discovery. What do we mean by native discovery? Well, native discovery allows you discovering, as the name suggests, and automatically updating your database of assets based on your infrastructure. So you can have multiple MacBooks or PCs or servers, whatever, and we give you an option in Asset Tracker, built-in option, that's very important, built-in option to automatically discover what kind of hardware and software you're having installed out there. All mice, all your monitors, PCs, whatever, you name it. Afterwards, we are focusing highly on automation and scripting side of your daily work. We know that managing assets can be a tedious work and you would like to automate the hell out of it. We give you this option through multiple means. And the third part is mobility. That's a vague topic. What it means, what do we mean by it, is a support for mobile devices, namely view, interacting with assets, and option to automate it also by a mobile phone as well.
So if you're looking for an answer to the question, why Asset Tracker for Jira, these are the three. We have native discovery, automation, and mobility.
So how to get started? First of all, probably on day one, you're going to check out the new folder structure. What it's for there. So everyone has to opinionate somehow how they structure the work, how they structure the asset. We have chosen the folder one. It's very native. That's something we're used to. On this example, this is example taken from the sample database that you can also integrate and implement yourself. On the left side, there are folders, which by clicking on them, you can, of course, interact with assets that are beneath it. You can drag and drop it as well. I suggest giving it a try. This is a new view being implemented actually as we speak. Probably right now they are still developing it. It has been released, I think, like a month ago. The beta version was released a month ago. This is still ongoing work. So if you don't see any features out there, please give us a note. We will try to port it as we are currently working it right now. So, okay, when dealing with a folder, it's all fine and dandy, but I would like to see my asset. So this is the asset view. We have all fields configured here, like serial numbers, values, vendors. This particular PC here called laptop, Euclid Lab, has been actually being discovered through native discovery that we mentioned at the beginning. So what do we have in here? On the left side part, we have all the functionalities, all the description like CPU speed, RAM size, swap size. Those fields are configurable all by you, and those field types also are configurable, which I'll tell you later on more about. We have string types, multi-line string types. We can link them to Jira issues. Of course, we can link those assets between each other. Of course, this is also important to see because assets themselves as a standalone are nice to have to know what's going on, but it will be very cool to have them see interconnecting and how one with another is being connected to. So in this particular scenario and example, this laptop is connected to two displays, one keyboard, one mouse, and belongs to Euclid, as the name suggests. Those field types are also always configurable. We have single select, date type field, integers, line of text. Even we have a user type of field, which can be tied to user in Jira, highly suggested feature. We have user unique ID and also many others. Well, having links and connecting assets one to another is very important part, but always whenever interacting with assets, it's good to know that you can also see it visibly. So like having information is one thing, but another thing is having an option to have it visible, like at one glance. You always can click by clicking on the links view, you can have this graph, which can show you all the connections, outgoing or incoming. So here in this example, I can see that this laptop is being connected to two displays and is also connected to keyboard. Euclid is owned by Euclid and is connected to a mouse with a number. Those names here are the descriptions and like a summary type field in Jira. You can also like tell the level of how deep it would like to go. If I would change this field from 1 to 2, automatically the depth level of fetching those links would go deeper. One part is details and another part is a history of an asset. Important part of an asset story life cycle in your organization is its history. You have to know what has happened to this asset and what might happen also in the future. So we cannot predict the future, but at least we could store the information that was in the past down to the asset. So we have a separate tab called history in which we can track what changes were done to the asset in question. So in this example, I can see that a month ago, some person has changed the description. And then I can see that like 15 minutes ago, some user, in this example, demo user, has changed a field description from this one here to laptop used mainly for testing. An important part of assets, aside of like if you would like to manage and track assets, is not that you always have them. The important part is that I can pick only those that I'm interested in. So for this, we've developed highly configurable and flexible asset tracker query language, ATQL. I know it sounds fancy, but it's actually pretty powerful. So you can specify exactly what type you want, text and other text as well. You can tie them together, those queries by ands and all operators, logic operators. We have also function searches, so you can really pick those assets that you're looking for, and later on use them for other purposes as well. So one thing is that you can search them. Another thing is that from time to time you would like to have reports being generated on some periodic interval, which then those assets would be pulled in and sent to you via, I don't know, some dashboard or maybe table, which will contain this information. So here we can do that as well. This is called, for now, scheduled searches. We are going to rebuild this feature, which I will show you probably on the what's coming up part. How it works, we specify on the top the name of the search, of course, because search can be saved. You specify a query. So in this case, it will be type computer, text, macOS, and 10.9 version. And then we specify who you would like to send the information about the results of this particular query. Every month, every first of a month, this query will be run, and the results of this query will be sent as an email to specified user. Well, the uses are multiple. First of all, we can say, for example, check what assets are right now available, which one of them are not available, how much, for example, assets are broken each month, so we can track it, measure it, and then probably based on this take some actions. Okay, so let's say we have an asset, we know how to search for them, we know how to store them, how to find them, how to configure how they look, how they feel. Okay, so what's next? Many times assets are physical, not only digital. And I would like to track them somehow in the physical world as well. So we've given you an option to have these labels printed out and which you can put as stickers on your physical assets. We are constructing each time the QR code, which is specific to this particular asset. In this case, it will be like this one. This is a QR code with an ID 27287. And when scanning this asset, you will be given an option. What kind of option? Like, I don't know how about you, but I see many people around here flying around with mobile devices, scanning those QR codes constantly. What's the purpose? First of all, we can specify operation sequences. And now, in the beginning, we were mentioning this mobility feature. Mm-hmm. What it does, you can specify something called operation sequences. That's how here on the left side, we can see the list of operation sequences available. We can make available, check in asset, take and buy, make available. Oh, I can see we have doubled it here. Check out and out for repair. If I would click on checkout asset, here this one, I would see how it behaves. It takes system user, so the field in asset tracker, and changes it to the reporter. In this case, it will need a context of an issue to which this asset has been linked to. Then it will last update field, last action, checked out by, and then also read in the current user, so the user that is logged in Jira, and change the system status to checked out. So what is being used for? We have mobiles on both iOS and Android released an application that after scanning the QR code and choosing the appropriate public action here on the left side, it will perform on scanned assets. So let's say I have a cup. I have a cup up here, which will be taken by me. So what I do, I take out my mobile phone, I scan the asset, click, and afterwards I'm given an option which action I would like to perform. I'm going to perform action taken by. Click. So automatically I don't have to go to Asset Tracker to perform all my actions. I have them by just scanning one QR code, which can be closed in like, I don't know, like 2 seconds probably of work, two seconds of work. And like the good part of this is that I can do my daily chores of updating the database of Asset Tracker and generally all my assets, managing all my assets, are being automated or being done in 1 minute, just like scanning all the assets I need to. I can modify, create my actions, whatever I would like to, and this is the part of automation we are highly focusing on right now. The other thing and other way of using those operation sequences is to have them as the post functions, and connect them to the Jira workflow. So if you install Asset Tracker and you use it in your Jira, then you will notice one additional option during the creation of post function in the workflow. You'll have the option to modify associate asset. And during performing a workflow transition from one status to another, you can check which operation sequence will be performed on an asset that is tied to this particular issue. Like example usage of scenarios might be, I don't know, let's say like taken out for repair. You're creating a ticket, laptop is broken, you associate assets to it, and during the transitions of issues, you specify that at some transition, laptop is being repaired or being discharged. Like you're giving an option, you're having an option in here to choose which one of them you would like to pick. So you're saying that we can, for example, automate our work, but on many cases, Still, we would like to have an ability to view the asset by not only logging to my browser in my laptop or PC or whatever. I would like to have an option to view this on my mobile device. So we've devised a special, different, completely view. You don't have to install anything. No application is needed in order to view asset and interact with it by just using mobile phone. If I would scan an asset, I will be giving, scan the QR code, would be given this view in here. This is being automatically generated by your Jira, and that's how mobile view of a device looks like. This is a current view. It is going to be changed in next few months probably, but we have a dedicated view for mobile devices, like in terms of mobile devices. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was going for something else, but no, unfortunately, only mobile devices. Mobile views for devices, and like interacting with it is as simple as just any form it might be on any browser.
So just looking at distributed physical assets, we're placing a very big emphasis on mobility because we are aware of the fact that you usually walk around your office. You won't carry a desk back to your computer to have a good view on your laptop or desktop computer. You need a good view of the asset on a mobile device all the time.
Yeah, that's how we are using it most of the time. And to be honest with you, if I would have to go to my laptop each time I have to check up on asset, yeah, that will be painful.
Would that make sense?
That would make sense. Yeah. Another thing of like being the part of automation is that we have given a powerful REST API. You can interact with your assets using our own REST API, which we have devised. The REST API is pretty extensive, pretty huge, I would say. You can interact if you can interact with an asset via the UI of Asset Tracker. You can also interact in the same manner via REST endpoints. So there is no limits on REST API. If something cannot be done in REST API, then it means it cannot be done at all with Asset Tracker. So all the options right now that are in Asset Tracker can be done via REST points. This gives you really good opportunities to automate your work on a daily basis and script it as much as you wish, actually. Yeah, another thing is import export, like where we know that many times you're not always like creating from scratch. Yeah, you already have some workflows in place in order to store your assets and track them by. We've been aware of that, so we have given an option to import and export, of course, at the same time. Import the data using CSV format, or everything that can be in the table with separated, I don't know, whatever character there is, or the comma, semicolon, even space. No, space will not work properly. But whatever is using proper separator, you can import to Asset Tracker, so you can preserve your information that you had previously, and not lose information that you have. In the beginning, on the middle, I was mentioning that you will have a context of an issue in order to perform some post functions or some operation sequences. So we know that assets in Jira, like it's maybe sounds crazy idea, but the whole concept of Asset Tracker is that you can still interact with assets and having Jira at the same time. But it would make no sense to have it just in Jira if there would be no issue field or embedding this asset in issues in Jira. So we've given right now ability to have a special field dedicated for assets only, and you can, in this case, as I'm showing here, we have a issue called laptop broken with a summary called laptop broken, and it has tied asset to it. So right now we can make play all the things that we mentioned before, so post functions and operation sequences. So let's say this laptop is being later on resolve this issue, it will automatically either make it repaired, this laptop, or make it up to the commission. Also, we sure give it a try to access management, how you can configure accessing them. You can configure who would like to give option to administer, access to have asset visible, who you would like to give option to have assets also edit them. The configurability is done, like we have chosen to go for groups, not particular users. So if you would like to limit only to one person, create a group or take a group which only has this person. That's how we have resolved it at the moment. So what's coming up next? We decided to go with our idea of what we're planning up and having in near future. So first things first, we are right now changing the list of assets. The view of folders and generally the view of what we have right now is being, like I said, shipped like a month ago. We're gonna give you an option to directly import to a folder. So now when you want a folder, you would like to import assets from CSV, you are having this option, which we will give you. Afterwards, we're gonna change the UX and the feel and look of an asset detail. I will show you in a moment what we have in stock for this. We probably maybe even addressing the asset statuses. Maybe that's something we're still considering, but probably we're giving to option to have statuses on assets themselves, so we won't have Jira issues. And also, well, currently we are given two options: either have a field called user and then assign it to user, or like recreate the users as a separate type of assets. We are going to change this and probably make users like first citizen class in Asset Tracker, designate asset owner, extendable properties, fully searchable, and fully changeable. So you will be able to integrate fully with the users and have on the glance view who's owning which asset, and then search for assets that are not owned or owned by a particular user. After that, in version 4.3, we are probably going to focus on per folder user permissions. So if you're afraid of not having it right now, we will, or we plan on adding it into the next iterations. And now it's something that we are planning to release, and this is a sneak peek of a design that we are thinking of. As you can see, the left side has not changed a lot. It's still the same that we're having right now, the thing we've shipped most recently. But the right side, here we have a view of an asset. As you can see, it's being completely rebuilt. Let's face it, the old view is old. Right now we have something new. And this will have all the actions that are available to it. So we'll be given an option to delete, print out, label for it, export, and even see the graph of links. Here under three dots, there will be operation sequences which you can perform on this asset itself, which you have predefined previously. You'll have option to create it by, owned by the field owner that we said previously, and all the fields that were created and last updated. This is not yet ready, so don't look for it right now. But if you have any feedback about it, we are always willing to hear it. If you have something to say about it, please give us a note. We are always hearing it. Another thing is the users. That's what we said. We would like to have them first-class citizens on the Asset Tracker itself. So currently, we are having view inherited from Jira, but what we plan on doing is having a separate completely view for users and then interacting with them, interacting with the asset as a separate subset. So that's the view currently what we're planning to do. Afterwards, we're gonna rebuild the interacting and changing the reports, because currently they are called scheduled sources. So what we plan to do is to rename them to reports and afterwards use them as such. So key takeaways. First of all, go right now and create a sample database. We've put a lot of effort into it being as easy to manage as possible. Actually, it's our own database, yeah, because most of the, aside of the names, of course, we didn't hire hierarchies in our company, but we have this kind of laptops and all the specifications out there are from ours. So this is a real database, real asset tracker. It will give you a hint on how it can look like. It even has specified searches for it saved, which you can see how it looks like. It's really simple. Go to import export functionality, go to import from built-in files, samples, and just click import sample data, and you should be golden.
So if you're looking for an easy way to enter the world of Asset Tracker, we really recommend you start with the sample built-in database. And just to mention that if you're to work out of this presentation with just a few things, this is one of the 3 most important ones, that this is what we recommend.
Another thing is that you should give it a try to importing some at least assets using CSV. Might need some work on your side on configuring it, on configuring end, but then you will see at least have an option and you'll see how it can be working on your end. Like one imported asset, one imported folder will give you a hint if it's viable for you or not. And try a native discovery. This is a really powerful feature. It might need some scripting on your end, probably, but if you make it run once, you will have to never ever again worry if your assets are up to date or not. Native discovery, with how it's done in Asset Tracker, automatically pulls all the information and updates existing ones. So based on this information, you can have always your Asset Tracker with assets managed and tracked at the same time with being up to date. So you don't have to manually go in and check if the assets are updated or not.
Do you have any questions? I don't see anything coming in on chat, so I guess this was kind of thorough, and we understand that there was a lot of information to process, so feel free to go back to this presentation. We will share it after the webinar with you via email. And again, if you're to take away only a few things from this, please go to the key takeaways section where we recommend how to get started. And don't hesitate to reach out for a private demo. We're here for you. You can either reach out to us via the support email on our website or via the live chat that we have implemented there. And we are really hoping to hear from you, not only with regard to questions of the product, but with regard to some feedback about the features, about our implementation plans, and anything else that you'd like to share.
Okay, I think that's it. Look, have a great day. Do not forget to smile.
Thank you very much for your attention. It was very nice to meet you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.